other issue may play into one big role. Is it possible that my negativity can be coming from others' negativity? Such as I'm up here and I'm trying to bring someone up here because they brought me up there. But they're weighing on the reality. Well, now I'm feeling like it brought me down to their reality.
Well, here's why. So you're focused upon something just because you want to feel good, and you're in the vortex. But when you're in the vortex, because you remember not being in there, you sure like it when others are in there because you want them to feel good like you've discovered. And then you notice someone not in. But because they're not in, they can't hear you. And when you talk vortexy, they think you're nuts. And when you talk optimistically, when they stand in the face of what they're facing, and even when they're looking at manifestations that they don't quite see for you, then they call you delusional. So then, because your desire to help them is so strong, you exit the vortex to help them. And now you got nothing to give them.
What if both parties' desires are similar?
Well, then
your words didn't come to me. It was brought to me. And the same person is struggling with reality and what is wanted.
Well, you see, we're asking something pretty significant of all of you. We're asking you to ignore the reality that's had nearly your undivided attention and to hang your star on your emotions just for a little while, because we know when you do it, your reality will flip. But that's what faith is. Faith is finding the vibration without the evidence that backs it up. And most people are looking for the evidence out here in reality. We say we love working with terminally ill people because they finally are the only ones that will do the real work. Because as long as there's one more thing you can do, one more thing you can wrestle to the ground, most of you will do it. It isn't until something gets your attention and you accept that it's the vortex work, it's the alignment with who you are, that you begin to feel your full power, you see. So what happens as you're interacting with other people, it's very common that your desires are similar. In fact, you co-create with your mate. You've co-created such magnificent things in your vortex. You're tied together in a very, very powerful way. But when either of you is not in vibrational proximity to the vortex, it doesn't matter where the other one is, because if you're not there, you can't feel it. And so what we're really saying to you is, and it's hard to hear, but we really want you to hear it. You have to be willing to ignore what everybody else is doing and make your relationship with your vortex the most important relationship that you have. It's like a mother said to us one day as we were encouraging her in how to respond to her son, who things were not going well for. And her heart was broken, and she was wanting to explain to us all of the things that were going wrong. And so we talked to her about this vortex, and we talked to her about how she just has to ignore what's going on, and she has to focus completely upon the vortex version of him, which was a far cry from the reality version of him. And she said, but Abraham, won't he feel like I have forsaken him if I don't commiserate with him, if I don't listen to him, if I don't try to encourage him? And we said, no one will feel like you are not with them if you are practicing every chance you get the vortex version. In other words, no one will feel like you've let go of them if you are imagining their well-being and rooting for their well-being and practicing the thought of their success. But no one benefits from your attention to what is when what is isn't what they want. They think it is. They say, come here and be there with me. So you march right out of your vortex and you be there, and then you both resent each other because neither one of you feel good because you're not in the vortex. And meanwhile, the good news is you're both putting more in the vortex, you see. Here's what we would do if we were standing in your physical shoes. We would end every day by putting ourselves in bed, say good night to everyone with the idea that you're not going to talk any further. And as you're drifting off to sleep, we would go as general as we can into a place of appreciation. Appreciate your pillow. Appreciate the air conditioning in the house. Appreciate the roof over your head. Appreciate just the simplest things that don't challenge you in any way. Just appreciate. And if you can drift off to sleep in appreciation, if you go to sleep in the vortex, you'll wake up in the vortex. It's just the way that it is, because your vibration is where you last left it. So when you waken in the morning, let your first thoughts be, oh, I like that feeling of appreciation. And then if you can do a little bit of basking just to keep it going. In other words, it's so much easier to start with the vortex and let the vortex affect reality than it is to face reality and then try to drag reality into the vortex. Because law of attraction is amplifying wherever you're at. So if you have a relationship with someone who's really verbal, and you do, and so are you, and the conversation's going on around you a lot about what is, you make it hard for you to catch a moment where the vortex can take you in. Now we want you to feel this picture, feel this. So you've put all of this into your vortex, and this larger part of you stands as the summoner of you. You're being called home to the fullness of who you are constantly. And the reason that you feel every emotion that you feel is because when you're being called home and you're non-resistant, you go, which is the elation. When you are being called home to who you are and you're non-resistance, it feels like passion, it feels like appreciation, it feels like love, it feels like the heavens are opening, as you said. But if you've been talking it up about things that aren't working, and you've been opening the door, and you've been noticing that what you're looking for isn't there, and the vortex is calling you, it feels like tension when you don't go. So the more you can relax and let the vortex take you, then not only the better you feel, and then you can begin counting your blessings, so to speak, making lists of positive aspects, but the more manifestations will show up that you can then begin reiterating. It would sound crazy to a normal person to hear Esther crowing about being called with no shoes to the gravel so that she could walk into the closet with no shoes on so that she could discover a problem that she didn't know she had. But to Esther, that was manifestation that indicates that the universe is looking out for me and that I'm in the vicinity, that I'm being called and letting it happen through the path of least resistance. And that's what that feeling of worthiness is. The best feeling of worthiness is the knowledge that you're good and Source knows it, and you just get this wonderful exposure to life that is not only building your vortex bigger and better and bigger and better and bigger and better, bigger and better and bigger and better. Jerry and Esther are having such an interesting experience. They've been moving through life. Everything imaginable has come for them. 5 books on the New York Times, a couple of them #1. Everybody wants that. That was something that unfolded. More money than they have any sensible use for. A lifestyle that is rivaled by no one. Beautiful houses all over the place, driving monster buses around the country. People adoring them, the message moving through them. Everything wonderful, and yet still more room for deepness. Deepness in their relationship, deepness in their understanding of worthiness, deepness in their understanding that all things are possible, deepness in their understanding that it doesn't matter what is, that you have the ability to focus upon what you want and find it, deepness in understanding your true power. In other words, there is no end to what is in your vortex, and the vortex's ability to bring to you greater clarity, greater knowing, greater love, greater confidence, greater security, greater well-being, greater understanding that you are a being with no end to the capacity of your expansion, you see.
Do you have to let certain things go to grow? Such as, I've been told that I want too much out of life. So
well, that would be wrong.
One would
that
say
would be wrong.
You don't appreciate what is because you're looking forward.
Well, what we would say is, whoever's telling you that does not understand that you have a vortex that's ripe with things that you can feel. Don't ask anybody else to validate what's ripe within your vortex, because they're always going to tell you that you're looking in the wrong place for it. You are the only one who knows, you see. That's why we say your relationship has to be with your vortex. But in the moment that you push against, they're not understanding, you're not in the vortex. In the moment that you try to justify what you know and make them know, you're not in the vortex. In the moment that you try to explain to somebody who doesn't know what you know, in your defense and justification, you leave the vortex, and then And then you don't know it either temporarily.
So
you see.
nothing that I come to know needs no justification. I don't need to justify anything because it's my truth.
It's your truth. And the path of least resistance. Here's the way we like to say this. If you put it there, and you have, oh, have you ever? And this vortex is calling you in this powerful way. And you allow yourself incrementally to go, 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 go. The unfolding of events will be thrilling to you and amazing to those who are watching. But this is the piece we really want you to hear. All of the cooperative components have already been gathered, and you're the only holdout. And the reason you're holding out is because you want that one to understand, and that one to understand, and that one to understand, and they're not going to understand. The best way to make them understand is for you to go along with it and reveal it through manifestation. And after manifestation, it's easier to explain.
It's understandable. I have one more question.
Now, we want to stick something else in there, because there's a sticking point for a lot of people that says, I have to live it in order to teach it. So I need to manifest it before they will believe. What you want to manifest, and we're using manifestation in an interesting way, hear it. You want to manifest your relationship with your vortex. You want to manifest joy. You want to manifest goosebumps. Goosebumps are a manifestation. You want to manifest pure positive emotion. You want to manifest humor and fun. You want to manifest emotions, because you can manifest the emotions right here, right now. The other stuff's coming, but you can manifest the emotions right here, right now. And when you show yourself your very easy ability to do that, all the other stuff is fast on the heels of that. We want you to feel the close proximity between your vortex work and the feeling that, in other words, you just get happy for 2 or 3 days, and movement will show itself to you. And then you'll say, see that, see that, see that, see that, see that. Just to yourself. Don't torture others with it. But see that, see that, see that, see that, see that, see that, see that. This is evidence. This is evidence of that. Whether it's a bird fly. The other day in the airport, Esther was walking through the airport, and a mother was pushing a stroller, and a little baby was coming toward her, and he was going, just so enjoying his hand and his mouth and the sound. And Esther knew it was a manifestation. She rendezvoused with that little one, and Esther just bent down and looked into his eyes, and he pulled his hand away from his mouth long enough to give her the biggest grin, and then went right back to it. Manifestation. Manifestation. Those things don't happen to people who aren't in the vortex. That was a moment with that child where the two of them rendezvoused inside the vortex, and each one of them knew it, you see. Manifestations. And those manifestations are as good as money in the bank. They're as good as everything that you want, because it all comes in exactly the same way, you see. Get that going on, and everything else follows. And it follows fast. We're not just trying to get you to be happy so that you won't feel the pain of being unhappy. We're not just trying to cheer you up because it's better to be poor and happy. We want you to be happy because that's who you are, and everything that you are comes when you are that, you see. This is joyful survival. This is joyful creating, you see. It is right for you to have everything that you've dreamed. Just don't squirm in the birthing of more dreams. Revel in it, because every one of those awkward or uncomfortable moments is the birthing of a dream that is so sweet. But what makes you feel like it isn't sweet is if there's too much expanse of time between the birthing and the receiving of it. And that's over for you guys. That's over. You now know too much. There's no reason that you can't begin a swifter manifestation, and there's no reason that you cannot become instant manifestors of experiences in the same way that you can become instant manifestors of joy. You just got to focus there, and on it comes. This is the time of awakening. This is what you all signed on for. It's time for you to begin allowing yourself to be and do and have. Have, do you hear us? It is time for you to allow the manifestations to be all that are in your vortex already. It's time for you to be the cooperative component. And we think that that now is done.